Okay, let's give this another go, y'all. The topic of the day. We are going to discuss managing content fatigue because this is something that I know a lot of people are struggling with, myself included. So I would like to have a little chat about how we can manage content fatigue. And let's talk about like what it means. So you'll excuse my eyes going all over the place here for a moment, since, part of the content fatigue today was that everything broke. So we are updating all the links on the back end for those of us who are joining via the reminders that are sent out via email and whatnot. So I think we should be set to go. Whew! All right. If you are watching live and you can see me and all of this is working, please let me know. Let's get into the topic today, shall we? Okay, so what do I mean by content fatigue? Now, as a small business owner and also a content consumer, we are in this unique position of having to deal with a lot of content. So I mean a couple of things. One, content creation, because as somebody who is let me get this set up here. So many things going on. As somebody who is, owns a music studio, or maybe you have online music courses, you probably feel a lot of pressure to create a lot of content, right? So we're talking about content for your social media channels. We're talking about content that might go out to your email list. We're talking about content that gets put onto your website. There's so much content expectation nowadays, and it feels like, at least in my opinion, that is constantly growing, right? That we're feeling like more and more we're having to create a ton of content, and that can feel overwhelming. So if you know what I'm talking about and you have felt that as well, let me know here. Just drop something down below in the chat. And, in addition to the fatigue that we can feel as a content creator, we also have this other side where we are content consumers. So we are spending time reading emails, reading blogs, scrolling on social media and things like that. And that can also be fatiguing. So what we're going to talk about today is ways that we can manage content fatigue. And I think some of these ways are going to surprise you. So if you are joining me live, please take a moment to say hello. Let me know how you're feeling about content creation. Are you getting fatigued about having to make stuff, or are you getting fatigued feeling like you have to consume stuff all the time? Let me know how you're feeling about that. If you're watching on the replay, know that I love to come back and have a conversation with you. We are going to be diving into specific ways that we can manage content fatigue as business owners, because y'all are unique. So let's get into that. But before we do, for those who are on YouTube and the Book of Face, let's play a little music. All right, and we are back. I see we have a few people have said hello here. Elizabeth Kisselstein's tuning in from Central New York. Laura is tuning in from Canada. She says, creating content while on summer break is hard. Ooh, I have some ideas for you, Laura. Okay, and Pete is waving. He's coming in from Texas. Bethany says that she, on Instagram, is saying that she feels overwhelmed and also feels like she's out of ideas. I've got something for you. Kenya says, I try to take a leisurely stroll, but end up going down the rabbit hole. I feel you on that, my friend. Okay, so let's get down to it. We have a couple of things that I've set up for you today. So if you hear something that is valuable to you in this conversation, give us a hashtag takeaway and let us know, what is that aha moment for you? This is really valuable for those who are coming back and watching later on. And I love to be able to bring your takeaways up on the screen. If you're watching on YouTube or Facebook, I can make you feel all fancy. If you are on the YouTube channel, please be sure to subscribe. We're putting out new content weekly. and you can get notifications there. And finally, little last bit of housekeeping, if you drop the word content down below, the Savvy Sara bot will reach out to you with the show notes from today and also the links that I'm going to be mentioning. For those who are on Instagram, if you put the word content down below, same thing. We'll make sure to reach out to you and get let you get a hold of that goodness. All right, so let's get to the stuff. Okay, I see some more comments before we're going to bring up our information. And oh, duh. I'm so distracted today since our broadcast got, chopped off when we first initially started it. If you're new here, my name's Sara Campbell, and I am a business strategist, marketing, and mindset coach for music studio owners and online education experts. And I go live here on Wednesdays where we talk about those topics. So if you're new, welcome. Okay, I see some comments here. Grace says, sometimes I can't think of something new to post. Well, other than come study with me, I need clients. I get that, yeah. Karen says she's in Lake St. Louis, Missouri. It's very hot there. Over-consuming is the issue for me, getting on the content rabbit hole. I see Susan is tuning in. Awesome. And Anna Larson says it's hard to stick with my social media scheduling in the summer. Totally get it. So I love those of you who are sharing that you're a little fatigued. I think some of the tips here are going to be really useful for you. Okay, so hey, Cavallani Music just joined on Instagram. Nice to see you. Let's get to tip number 1 today. So when it comes to managing content fatigue, here's one thing that I would like to invite you to keep in mind. Okay, better content is better than more content. So, nowadays, and I get this, like I'm somebody who would consider herself like a social media coach, right? The advice that we have out there, it feels very high pressure because, we're getting these people that tell us, hey, you need to be posting every single day. You need to be posting multiple times a day. You need to be posting on multiple platforms. You need to be omnipresent. And that feels like a lot when you are a solopreneur. Now, if you had a team working with you who could repurpose your content, that might feel a little bit better. However, when most of us, let's be honest, most of us are working by ourselves. So trying to keep up with the advice out there about how much content we need to put out and where, this content needs to go, it's a lot. So I encourage you and I invite you to remember that you don't have to put content out for the sake of putting content out. If you are in a dry spell and you're like, I just don't know what to post today, take the day off. We're going to talk about some other options that you can do here, but take the day off and give yourself the chance to recharge. Give yourself the chance to, to not think so hard about what content you're going to be creating, what things you need to write, what graphics you need to create. Because putting content out for the sake of content isn't necessarily helpful. And if you're not, just speaking as a social media coach, if you're not getting a lot of engagement on your content, if the insights are really low, then maybe you need to pull back a little bit and think about creating content that is, a little deeper, things that, speak more to your ideal clients. And that might be in a different type of schedule than the suggested daily multiple postings. So if you feel like you're having, to run on this rat wheel or hamster wheel, maybe a hamster wheel, although I really like rats. I used to have pet rats. Anybody else out there have odd pets when you were younger? Okay, that is neither here nor there. Give yourself permission to go with quality over quantity. It is not necessary to post as many times as some of the social media gurus out there are telling you to. So that's item number 1. So if anybody feels like, hey, I'm going to give myself permission, quality over quantity, put that down below. Let me know that that's something that you're going to be focusing in on. Let's move on to the second tip here. Okay, the second, that's funny. Karen, I think Bjorn would like some pet rats. I'm not sure he would know what to do with them. For those who don't know, Bjorn is this little gentleman. Back there, he seems to, this is his new favorite spot while I am doing videos. You can't see Freya, but she's behind me, sleeping on the floor. It's very, very hot here, so both of my cats look like they've melted. Okay. So let me, just for a moment here, I'm going to grab a link over for the YouTubers. If you're watching on YouTube and you do want to get a hold of the show notes that I mentioned here today, I'm going to pop a link into the live chat. Okay. So you can click there for the notes. All right, let's get back to it. So item number 2. So we've already talked about the first one, quality over quantity. And let's get to item number 2. So here is something that I think not a lot of people do. And it's something that's been a total game changer for me and for Savvy Music Studio. So I'd love to tell you about this. There were several of you who mentioned, like, okay, let's see, Bethany said, I'm overwhelmed and also, running out of ideas. There were a couple of other people who said here, like, it's hard to stick to a schedule in the summer. And, it feels like I don't know what to post other than, please come study with me. I need clients. I'm going to share a quote from one of my piano students that I think is very relevant when it comes to this item here. One of my students, Greta, when she was young, we were having a conversation about her piano pieces. And, she had gotten to the point with a couple of pieces where they were very well polished. They were pretty much like, quote unquote, performance ready, right? And then we had a conversation about, well, what do we do with those pieces that are performance ready? And she thought about it for a second. And she said, well, music is not bananas. And I was like, what? Wait, huh? Music is not bananas? Like, what do you mean? She's like, well, music doesn't go bad like bananas does. So I can play these pieces anytime I want. And I was like, this is genius. And I love it when, 8-year-olds spout off like amazing advice. And I got to thinking about, content is not bananas either. It does not go bad. Most pieces of content, unless it's timely content like, Christmas recital information or, something that's has to do with like a day of the week, like a specific holiday or whatever. That stuff might have a time and place that it needs to live. But most of the content that we do create isn't something that goes bad. So you can take older pieces of content. If you're running out of ideas and you're like, I don't know if I can put anything out this week. And you maybe just want to put like 1 or 2 posts out. Look at the stuff that you've put out in the past. And if you're not sure which pieces to choose, something that you can do is you can look at the insights to see, well, what are the things that did pretty well? And then you can take those older pieces of content and you can repurpose them. And you may need to do some optimization. Maybe you add some different hashtags to it. Maybe you revamp the description if you have new ideas or new thoughts about the thing that you wrote before. And, I can tell you from experience, repurposed content does really well. If you are seeing Savvy Music Studio content come across your newsfeed, I can guarantee you are seeing some repurposed posts, right? Because content doesn't go bad. It's not bananas. So give yourself permission to repurpose some of your content. I'd love to know, for those who are watching live or on the replay, have you started repurposing content yet? I would love to know if you've repurposed anything because, hey, it works. Or if you haven't repurposed anything yet, I'd love to know if you have some ideas of like, here are some pieces of content that I think would probably be good to repurpose. I'll give you a couple of ideas off the top of my head while you guys contribute your own in the conversation here. Student testimonials are easily something that you can repurpose. If you have pictures from recitals or videos of students, you can always do Throwback Thursdays and put out pieces that you've done before. If you have graphics with information about why piano lessons are important, why voice lessons are important, or if you have inspirational quotes, you can repurpose those as well. So those are things that, come back to them, look at them, see, hey, did it do well in the past? If it did, then put it out there, okay? Give yourself permission not to have to come up with new stuff all the time, because having to come up with a piece of content for every day of the year is kind of ridiculous. Let's be honest, right? Nobody wants to have to do that. Karen says, I'm going to repurpose your student bananas comment. I like that. Susan is saying yes. Okay, excellent. right, let's move on. I've got a couple more points here today. So the next point, this is really important, and I'm going to share a tool that I think is really valuable. It's definitely helped me save a lot of time. I personally do a lot of my work at the desktop and not on my mobile phone, just because thumb typing, right? So I have some tools that I use on desktop to help at this next point, and I'm going to show you what those look like. The third tip is to protect your eyeballs. Now this is the tip where we're shifting from talking about content creation to talking about content consumption. Social media is designed to keep you on platform, right? That's why we have this endless scroll feature. And I know in the last broadcast that we did, we talked about on Instagram, the new idea that we have like 3 different feeds on there, so we can actually just focus in on the people that are our favorites. Well, that's one thing that we can do, but another thing that we can do is set boundaries for ourselves. And to tell ourselves, okay, as of this time of day, at this time of day, I am going to take a break from scrolling on my phone. I am going to take a break from feeling like I need to catch up on all the emails that I've been sent this week. You're going to basically put your blinders on and protect your eyeballs. There's definitely ways to do this if you feel like you need assistance with it, because I don't know about you guys, but like I can set boundaries. I can say that I'm going to set boundaries, but I am going to totally lie to myself and go over those boundaries. So there are tools that you can use, and the ones that I'm going to talk about are free. There are tools that you can use to help yourself stick to those boundaries. One of the things that I really, really love to use is it's a Chrome extension called Newsfeed Eradicator. It's free, and it's really useful in my opinion because like if I want to be on Facebook and I don't want to like get sucked down a rabbit hole, I can make sure that this extension is on. Here we go. I'm going to try to screen share this so you can see what I'm talking about. Here we go. All right, see this? This is what my news feed looks like on Facebook. Isn't that kind of funky? You don't see anything on the news feed. Sorry, Instagrammers, you're not going to be able to see this. But instead of seeing the news feed that normally comes up there with all those pieces of content, it just brings up inspirational quotes. And I can always change the quotes that are there. And I can turn this on and off. I can decide to have it on all the time, or I can decide to take it off for an hour or something like that if I do want to browse the news feed. But this is something that I absolutely love, and it's been a real game changer for me. So let me see if I can stop screen sharing. There we go. Anna, isn't that amazing? It's really, really cool. Again, the name of that is called Newsfeed Eradicator, and it's a Chrome extension, and it's free. I think that it's really awesome. One of the things that I like about it is that it's not just, let me see if I can go. Yeah, this is really cool. Like here's what it looks like on the inside of this. You can set it for Facebook. You can set it for Instagram. You can set it for all of these things. Like it's pretty awesome. And I think it's like a fabulous tool if you don't want to if you don't want to get sucked down the rabbit hole of social media. Another tool that you can use for those of you who use iPhones, there's all kinds of settings inside of them where you can make it so that certain apps are only allowed at certain times of the day. And then once they enter the time of day where it's not allowed, it's not that you can't open them, but there's an extra couple of clicks that you have to make, that will say like, hey, it'll say, hey, this app is, expired for the day. That's not the exact verbiage, but you can then click on OK, or you can say, remind me in 15 minutes and get like 15 minutes access, or remind in 1 minute. So you could get 1 minute to look at that app. And I use that all the time. I have it set so that like my email can't be accessed after a certain time of day, and it can't be accessed until a certain time of day. So this is something that I have found to be extremely useful. If anyone here has other tips about how you can, what am I calling them? pieces of software or things that you use or apps or whatever that you use to limit the time that you have exposure to social media or exposure to your email, etc. I would love to know what you're using. Drop those down below. Okay, we're going to get to our final point here today. Here we go. So another way that we can manage content fatigue is to figure out ways to streamline content creation. Because, you know, I could just say, if you want to manage content fatigue, just stop making content. But as somebody who's a marketing coach, I know that content is important, and you know that too, right? So you can streamline your content creation. And that, you know, that can look like a lot of different things, depending on how you like to work. Maybe that means setting aside a specific chunk of time, one day a week, to do the content creation, and, you know, scheduling things out on social media. Maybe you're the type of person who likes to do it on the daily, but you need to maybe set some firmer boundaries around, you know, how much time you're going to spend making that stuff. Because I think this is one of the things that helps me a ton. Like, I will actually, this is going to sound really bizarre, but when it comes to new content creation for my business, I typically set aside a very large chunk of time once a quarter. Once every 3 months, I set aside a giant chunk of time. I'll typically spend most of my day doing content creation, because once I get into a groove with it, I'm on it, and I'm all about doing the graphic creation. At that point, I want to do it all in one big chunk. And then I will set aside another chunk so that I can actually write the descriptions and things like that. And then I hand it off to a team member where that they can schedule the content itself. So you find something that works for you, right? You find a way to streamline that works for you. And that will be a game changer. Trust me. Hey, Philip. Hey, dude. How are you? Yeah, I know. The struggle is real. Okay, so we're going to do a rapid recap here in a moment. For those of you who have been watching, I'd love to know what your biggest takeaways are. So now's your time to drop those takeaways in the comments. But before we get to that, let's see. I already went through that. Okay, cool. I was going to say my favorite extension is called the Newsfeed Eradicator. Just wanted to bring that on the screen. That's what I'm talking about. All right. I would be remiss to say, and this is going to sound so bizarre, but I have a workshop coming up where I'm actually going to be talking about streamlining content, and more specifically, it's going to be talking about streamlining content creation with Instagram Reels. That is coming up on Wednesday, June 29th. Do I have the date right? Yes, I have the date right. It's going to be Wednesday, June 29th, so that's 2 weeks from now. And in fact, we will actually not have a broadcast that day because I will be running the workshop on Zoom. And right now we have 11 spots left. If that is something that you're interested in and you do want to learn more about that, you can drop a comment below, and the Savvy Sara bot will send you the information. It's a 90-minute workshop. It's got a 7-day replay. It's a very small investment. I'm going to start running more of these styles of workshops that are very interactive, where you will learn step by step with me and actually get the opportunity to create things in real time. And my goal with these is not to just give you another tool that you have to use, right? It's to show you how to streamline your use of tools, and to make things easy. So if Instagram Reels are something that you've kind of dabbled with, and you want to streamline them a little bit more, or if you haven't started them yet, but you have been interested in starting them, that might be a really good workshop for you. So drop content down below if that's something that you'd like to learn about. Kavalani Music from Instagram, I'll definitely reach out to you and send you the information. I'm making sure that I'm writing down your name correctly, because Instagram's weird and does not save the live chat. Instagram, you need to save the live chat. It's just weird. Okay. All right. I see. Let's get to our rapid recap. Before we do that, I see Barbara has a good takeaway. Her new summer project is mass content creation. There you go. Yeah. Streamline it. Make it something that you just do one time instead of tons of time. All right. Let's get to our recap here. Whew. All right. So, as a small business owner, you are having to do a lot of things, right? You're creating content, and that can be very time consuming. I know that it can feel fatiguing to feel like you have to keep up with content creation and putting out posts every day, yada, yada, yada. And also, you are a content consumer. So we've got this double whammy of creating content and also consuming content, and that can be really fatiguing. Here are 4 steps that you can use to manage that content fatigue. So step number 1 is to remember that better content is better than more content. You know, it's all about quality over quantity. So don't feel like you have to keep up with all the advice out there about you need to post this X many times a day, you need to post on X many channels. Know that you are allowed to build your own route, your own road, build your own map. So know that better content is going to give you better results. So don't feel like you just have to smash something together to put it out there. Give yourself permission to focus on quality over quantity. The second thing is that you don't have to always come up with something new, right? You can optimize and repurpose your old content. And I can guarantee that if that piece of content resonated pretty well with your audience the first time, it's going to resonate really well with them the second, third, fourth, 5th time. Not even lying. Some of my posts that I've put out, they've been out 6 times before, but the content is relevant and it's going out to new people. So give yourself permission to repurpose old content so that you don't always have to come up with new stuff. The third thing, protect your eyeballs, my friends. Give yourself clear boundaries around when you're going to engage with content, whether that's, catching up on emails that are in your inbox, or if it's scrolling through a news feed. Give yourself some healthy parameters, because if you are feeling fatigued at the end of the day, or you're feeling like a lot of FOMO because you see all this content that other people are putting out, give yourself some boundaries. And if you need reinforcement with those boundaries, there are all kinds of tools and apps that you can use that will disable apps on your phone, that will eradicate your newsfeed. My favorite one is the Chrome extension called Newsfeed Eradicator. Seriously changed my life. All right, number 4, streamline your content creation. Find some type of a system that works for you, whether that's batching stuff out on one day, or if it's dedicating a very specific time of day to your content. Streamline the creation process. There's all different types of things that we can do in order to streamline our process. So give yourself permission to look at the systems that you're using and think about, how can I make this a little faster? How can I make this a little easier? And, start coming up with some type of an SOP, standard operational procedure, around how you create content. This is something that's really helped me throughout the years, and I hope that it helps you. All right, that is it for today. If you have any questions about what we've talked about here, or if you have any comments that you'd like to add about how you're dealing with content fatigue, I would love for you to drop that into the conversation, and let's keep this going. I love it. The final takeaway, yes, Grace. Repurpose old posts. It's not bananas. That's right. Content doesn't go bad. All right. Thank you so much for being here, you all. I really appreciate it. I will be back next week for a new topic and new stuff for you. And in the meantime, stay savvy and stay you, because you're an amazing music teacher and there's no one in the world quite like you. And I think you're pretty dang awesome. Thanks for being here, everybody. We'll see you next time.